This year, a lot of movies graced my eyeballs, but not all of them were good. I was pretty lucky to avoid a lot of movies I knew would be boring to me, but I still wanted to diversify the movies I watched and give objective reviews. Now it's time to take off my professional hat and rag on some of the movies I saw this year that really tried my patience. And let's not be so serious, as I know everyone has their favorites. So without further ado, this is CPG's worst movies of 2023. Starting off at number 10 is Marlo. While this movie wasn't bad, it was just boring. You could really see Liam Neeson starting to show his age, as his action scenes were very stiff and or non-existent. There's a scene pretty early on in the movie where he fights some gardeners, and right before the action starts, the movie just cuts to the next scene very abruptly. Making our way to number 9 is Blue Beetle. Man, I really wanted to love this one, or at least like it, but it just did not click with me, and it just didn't make me care about anything that I was seeing on screen at all. Really, the only person who grabbed my attention in the movie was George Lopez's Rudy. I'm hoping that the movie gets a sequel to really flesh things out, or at least, just capitalize on that post-credit scene that we saw, because that was interesting. As it stands, the movie just didn't catch my attention, and I even have a bias towards superhero films, so that's saying something. Moving right along to number 8, A Haunting in Venice. This was a movie that was very slow and can really only be enjoyed by the most extreme of murder mystery fans. Now, while I did enjoy this film, it is the weakest of the trilogy. Its pacing just dragged along, and the movie was really only saved by that slight horror aspect to it. I just don't think I'll enjoy another rewatch of A Haunting in Venice like how I do currently with A Murder on the Orient Express. It could just be that the ensemble cast in this particular one just had the least star power on the trilogy as well. Now, let's talk about number 7. No, let's really talk about it. Of course, it's Cocaine Bear. This movie was entertaining for sure, but it just had that vibe or that feeling of being a very well-produced streaming movie and not a movie that you would see on the big screen. I really think the movie was elevated due to the performance of the late Ray Liotta, and I'm glad that it made some money. Number 6, Megan. Another movie that I didn't like but audiences seemed to love. For me, it was just those jump cuts used to obscure the kills that weakened the movie for me. This was definitely meant for that PG-13 crowd, because even when it came on Peacock and it had an unrated edition, that didn't show anything extra, so it didn't sway how I felt about this movie. Number 5, Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, at first, I thought this movie was just mid, but after really sitting and mulling it over, I've since changed my stance for the worse. We don't get much time with the animatronics, the kills are pretty lame, minus the one that I talked about in my review, and the scene where everybody is best friends and playing in a pillow fort is just dumb. This movie was dumb, and the jump scares didn't help anything at all. They were vanilla. Number 4 is Killers of the Flower Moon. I don't know what happened from the trailers to the movie. The trailers made it out to be a thrilling murder mystery akin to The Departed, which is ironic as this is the same director, but this movie was so slow paced and ice cold boring that there was no real suspense in the movie at all. It just felt like, okay, let's all walk slow to get to the point and just sit here and wait. I'm not mad at the length of the movie, I'm just mad at what Martin Scorsese chose to do with that time. Number 3 is The Pope's Exorcist. This movie was so boring that I legit started nodding off in the middle of it. I woke back up for the last act, and even then it still didn't do anything interesting. It was just things happening on screen for what made little to no sense. All spectacle, no sense. Number 2 is Paint. Did you even know this movie came out? Probably not, but hey, I went to go see it, so you didn't have to. This movie was like watching a dream. There was a plot, but it's so thin that you could just floss with it. I enjoyed seeing Owen Wilson on screen while waiting for the next season of Loki, but this just wasn't it, my friend. And coming in at number 1 is none other than 65. What else can I say about 65 that I didn't already say during the review? The title was dumb, the way they chose to tell the story in the first act was weird, and it didn't make any sense for the random time skip that just takes place. I think Adam Driver either owed someone a favor, or this was just a poor translation from script to screen, as the ideas that it borrows from other films can work, just only if done right. So there you have it. That's my list for worst films of 2023. There were definitely worse films that went direct to streaming that I didn't mention. Let me know in the comment section if you'd like to see those included when we do the list next year. And of course, thanks for watching. Share this with a friend to get a good laugh, and drop a comment of your list, and I'll see you next year.